chick fight. In spite of June's concerns, Chick wasn't getting into any trouble, at least not yet. He was happily exploring and having an early morning stroll and snoop around the homestead. Most people think of chicks as being yellow, fuzzy, and round. Homestead chicks do come in a variety of colors, and they are all fuzzy, and they are all round. Everyone, that is, except Chick. He was fuzzy, but his body was not so much round as it was squat. His scruffy down was a reddish brown with variations of tone that gave him almost a patchwork appearance. His glinting beetle black eyes with a slight dimple in his fuzzy brow just above his small triangular beak made Chick look like he was up to something, which he usually was. His oblong head set on his chunky body with a thick chest that stuck out a bit. This, along with Chick's stumpy wings and his thick, short, slate gray legs, made him look slow and clumsy, but he was anything but. Chick was actually quite fast and agile. He could outrun almost anyone in the homestead, and those he couldn't, he could outmaneuver them. His stubby legs would propel him with lightning speed in and out of whatever mischief he happened to find himself. Chick walked as if he was on a mission, which he was. His mission was to look, explore, and investigate as much as possible before his mom interrupted him and made him come home to do whatever mundane domestic activity that it was time for, such as eat lunch, take a dust bath, or take a nap. Chick felt he was definitely too old for naps. Chick enjoyed snooping around the homestead, but he preferred to think of it as exploring. The adult chickens thought of it as snooping. Regardless of what it was, Chick enjoyed it, and it didn't matter if it was a place he had been to before, because he always managed to find something of interest. There were some places that he hadn't explored as much as he would have liked to because they were off limits. To Chick, that wasn't a problem. He figured sooner or later he'd find a way to get in there. Two places that he had never been in, one was the cabin and one that he had been in occasionally, was the barn. Coop chicks weren't allowed in there. This, of course, made Chick want to go in there all the more. Another place with which he was less familiar was the tall grass that grew behind the coop from the edge of the backyard to the stone wall. Chick was not sure how much of the homestead the tall grass covered, but he assumed it was a lot. Chick didn't want to admit it, but he was actually too scared to explore the tall grass. He just told himself that there was nothing to see in there except grass, and that was boring. Chick had heard the story that snakes were known to lurk in the tall grass, ready to eat any chicks foolish enough to go in there. Chick wondered if that was just another old biddy tale that mothers told her chicks to make them behave. Other old biddy tales he had heard were, "Don't leave your nest at night because the dark rooster will get you," or "If you don't eat all your grit, the evil giant human Fairmere will get you. Snakes, the dark rooster, and the evil giant human Fairmere." Chick didn't think they were real, but he didn't want to chance it. This is why he never left his shoe at night, always ate his grit, and didn't really show any interest in exploring the tall grass. As Chick walked, he leaned forward with his oblong head extended as far as it could go, which wasn't far considering he had a very short neck. And in this manner he looked and found something interesting. Something on a leaf of a low-growing plant. Something wiggled. He moved quickly to check it out. It was a bug. A very strange-looking bug. At least Chick thought it was a bug. It was green, hairy, and had a lot of legs. As Chick was examining this interesting insect, an angry voice said, "Hey, weirdo, come here!" Chick was used to being called names by other chicks, and he had become quite good at ignoring them. The angry voice said, "Hey, Eggtooth, I'm talking to you!" Chick did not respond. Instead, he wondered if this bug he had found was edible, and could he eat it? Chick considered himself to be a cornitarian, which meant he didn't eat things that had eyes or a face. Instead, he ate berries, corn, grains, and other seeds. The voice continued to talk. "Eggtooth! Hey, Eggtooth!" Chick wondered if it would be okay just to go ahead and eat the bug, because he wasn't really a strict cornitarian and it didn't seem to have a face or eyes. He decided he didn't want to chance it because it had purple legs. Chick figured anything that had purple legs would not be very tasty. The voice continued to taunt with an even worse insult than Eggtooth. "You dumb little yoker! What you gonna do, cry? Yeah, that's it, cry, you little yoker." "Leave me alone," a timid voice said. "Ah, poor little yoker," scoffed the angry voice. "What you gonna do, tell your mommy?" The timid voice yeeped. "Just leave me alone, please." That was when Chick took notice. Normally he ignored insults being thrown at him, and he always ignored the two chicks that were bickering. But this wasn't name-calling or bickering. It was something much worse. It was bullying. Chick hated bullying and bullies. That was something he would not ignore. He turned around and saw a fat young cockerel sitting on a smaller chick and pecking him. Chick recognized him. It was Bernie Malcolm, the worst bully of the entire homestead. He was older than Chick and was starting to get his comb. He had a slightly crooked triangular beak that poked out of a pair of chubby cheeks, the cheerfulness of which was greatly offset by the malevolence of Malcolm's dark, beady eyes. The feathers on his head and neck were still a coarse, yellowy down, which grew on his body and wings with a mix of blonde juvenile feathers and the same coarse, yellowy down. He was a downy, feathered bundle of angry cockerel adolescence. "Ow! Stop! You're hurting me!" yeeped the chick again. The cockerel jeered. "Make me, you stupid little peep baby!" The smaller chick meeped miserably. A group of chicks stood around watching. Some were laughing, others just stood by, too scared to do anything. A few adult hens were standing back, pretending not to notice. No one wanted to get involved because Bernie's mother was Auntie Hasidia Malcolm, the mother hen of the Malcolm brood. The Malcolms were a very powerful and prestigious brood. Auntie Hasidia was not a hen to be crossed. She was, however, first cousin to the superior mother hen and overseer of the Gallioarch court, and the corn matriarch in charge of the corn patch. None of that mattered to Chick. He wasn't intimidated or impressed by Bernie or his family. He picked up the bug he was looking at and tucked it under his wing. And then he walked to where Bernie was bullying the little chick and said, "Hey, pasty butt, what you doing?" Bernie looked up at Chick and chirped angrily, "What'd you call me?" Pasty butt was the equivalent of calling someone a bedwetter. Bernie was old enough that pasty butt should not have been a problem, but there was some indication that it was. No one dared to say anything to him except Chick. "You heard me," Chick defiantly called. "Pasty butt!" Bernie angrily peeped. "That's what I thought you said." He got off his victim, who quickly scrambled away. Bernie was a full head and comb taller than Chick. He slowly approached him with his neck stretched out in attack mode and said, "You want to say that again, you stupid little pea baby?" Unconcerned, Chick looked at him and said, "What do you mean, pasty butt?" Bernie flinched and pulled back. He wasn't used to his victims being so bold. He cautiously looked around to see if anyone was going to intervene, such as an older chick or a parent or something, but there was no one. When Bernie saw no one was going to intervene, he turned back to Chick and said, "You think you're funny?" "Not as funny as you, pasty butt," said Chick. His casual lack of fear made Bernie even angrier. He puffed up his feathers and down and stretched out his neck in attack mode. Then suddenly, Chick said, "Hey, you want to see something really funny?" Bernie hesitated, curious to see what it was. He asked, "What?" "This," replied Chick as he whipped out the bug from under his wing and shoved it into Bernie's face. Suddenly, Bernie yeeped loudly. This also started the bug and caused it to spray a stinging, noxious fume right in Bernie's face. Bernie staggered backwards, gagging and sputtering. Chick then ran circles around Bernie, pecking and clawing and pulling at his feathers and down. Bernie made a feeble attempt to fight back, but quickly gave up because he couldn't see. Disoriented and dizzy and nauseated, Bernie staggered off, meeping miserably about Chick wasn't fighting fair and he was going to tell his mom on him. As Chick watched Bernie stagger away, the little chick he rescued came up to him. He was shorter than Chick, with a dark gray down that made him look like a tiny fuzzy storm cloud. His dark gray down faded to a lighter, slightly shade of gray on his chest and belly. He had dark eyes and a small, slightly curved beak. The down on his head was black, except for a light spot on his head. "That was amazing," he said. Chick, looking downcast, shrugged. "What's the matter?" asked the Chick. "Are you afraid you're going to get in trouble with Auntie Hasidia?" "Oh, no, of course not. I just lost my bug. I hope Bernie didn't swallow him." The little chick couldn't tell if Chick was being serious. "Well, it's a good thing you came along when you did," he said. Chick shrugged again and said, "No biggie." "Oh, yes, it was," said the Chick emphatically as he giggled to himself. "Pasty bud, that was funny." Chick shrugged and started to leave. As he did, the chick called after him and asked, "Hey, what's your name?" "Chick," said Chick as he walked away. The little chick trotted after him and said, "Chick, did you say your name was Chick?" "Yeah," said Chick as he continued to walk away. The little chick continued to eagerly trot alongside him. "You're Chick! Chick Pinfeather!" he peeped excitedly. Chick stopped and looked at him and said, "So?" The little chick cheerfully exclaimed, "I've heard of you." "You've heard of me," said Chick suspiciously. Chick knew he was well known in the homestead, but it wasn't for anything positive. The other chicks thought he was weird and made fun of him. The rooster saw him as a quirky chip off the old block. The hens thought he was reckless and rebellious and warned their chicks not to be like him. Occasionally, when a chick was seen doing something the chick had done, the mother would scold her chick and say, "If Chick tried to swim in the Grymme Creek, would you?" Which incidentally was something Chick tried to do once, but that's another story. "My name is Pecan Waddington Oddwaddle, of the Oddwaddle brood, but my friends just call me Peck," said Peck. "I'm a great admirer of your work." Chick stopped and stared at his new friend. "My what?" "Your work," Peck repeated cheerfully. "You're a chick that is well known for thinking outside of the nest." Outside the nest," said Chick quizzically. "Yeah, you're known for being different," said Peck. "Is it true you made your own nest?" "Oh, no," said Chick, "but I have a shoe." "Wow," said Peck enthusiastically. "You're an innovator." "A what?" "An innovator," said Peck. "You're not afraid to be different." "Let me get this straight," said Chick. "You think it's cool that I sleep in a shoe?" "Well, it's not just the shoe," said Peck. "It's everything about you. You're different." "Some folks don't necessarily see that as a good thing," said Chick. "Yes, I suppose you do have your detractors," said Peck earnestly, "but I'm not one of them." Then he looked at Chick for a moment and said, "I imagined that you would be taller." "This is as tall as I am at the moment," said Chick. "I do have plans to grow." Peck laughed. "Another good one." Chick turned to leave, and Peck trotted after him. "Where are you going?" he asked. "No place in particular," said Chick. "Mind if I tag along?" asked Peck. "If I said no, would it stop you?" asked Chick, feeling annoyed and amused. "Probably not," said Peck merrily. Chick just shook his head, and he didn't know what to make of this new odd little friend. In fact, he never actually had a friend before. But it was bound to happen sooner or later. Finally, Chick shrugged and said, "Suit yourself." "All right," peeped Peck enthusiastically as he trotted alongside Chick.